Hello everyone! Welcome to my very first live of 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I have a big lesson planned for you today, so we better get started. Okay, I'll share my screen so you can see my notes. Here we go. And while we're waiting for a few more people to show up, Dara, I like your style. Here we go is right. We gotta get started. Vijayasri, hello! Happy 2025! Nice to have you here. Really wonderful. Okay, today we're going to look at real life English phrases simplified. I have a whole list of important phrases for you today. And I want to let you know, if you want access to all of my notes here, you can join my English Nerd membership to keep these notes forever. Let's take a look. Ooh, it's a big lesson today. Today is a mega lesson. And you can see for some of these phrases, I use a whole page because they can be a little bit complicated. So some phrases use a whole page. Some of them I can split the page in half, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. And I see more people are showing up. I love seeing all of you here. Davide from Italy, hello. Really nice to see you. Hello, Happy New Year to you as well. Really good. Nice. Perfect. Madhu, Happy New Year, ma'am. And I love you, ma'am. This is wonderful. What a great way to start my first live. Thank you. Dalton, always good to see you here. I'm happy you've joined me today. Manuel, Happy New Year as well. Wonderful. Laurent, hello Arnel. I can't stay just to say bonjour. Bonjour. It was good to see you, even if it was for 1 second. Thank you, Laurent. Okay, let's get started. Let's focus now. Okay, I have all these phrases here. All of these C1 phrases are common in conversations. And I put C1 because some of them can be a little bit tricky. Why? They are not easy to translate and have very specific meanings. In the past, my students have struggled with these phrases. Let's go through each one step by step. Go through is such a good phrasal verb, especially when you're studying something. This means to look at everything carefully. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look at each phrase step by step. Silvio, Happy New Year to you too. Thank you for being here. Okay, number 1. Let alone. Let alone. This is an odd one. Let's start with an example. A. Let's ask Mabel if she can help us carry these boxes downstairs. Mabel? Mabel is 85. She can barely walk, let alone carry boxes. Let alone. This is my explanation. How can this happen? Carrying boxes? How can carrying boxes happen when something easier cannot happen? Walking. So, if Mabel can't walk, how can she carry boxes? Don't worry, I'm going to give you a lot of examples. And anytime, leave me your examples in the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, let me see some of your examples. Give it a try. We use let alone to emphasize that something cannot happen by comparing it to something easier that cannot happen. How can the difficult thing happen when the easy thing also cannot happen? Let's do some more examples. I already see some of you writing your own examples. This is wonderful. Vitor. Some people never even read a newspaper, let alone a book. Exactly. Why would they read a book? How can they read a book if they don't even read newspapers? Yeah. The next one is just an example. It's not a real life example. A. Can your husband cook? Cook? He doesn't even know where the kitchen is, let alone cook. How can this happen? How can he cook when he doesn't even know where the kitchen is? Next one. You need to take a vacation, Jess. I would love to get away. I would love to get away for a few weeks, but I don't have enough money for groceries, let alone a vacation. You can see how you can say something can't happen because something easier cannot happen. And groceries are things you buy in a supermarket. So every week I buy groceries. Silvio, I just ate so much, I'm stuffed. Stuffed is a really good adjective. It means you're really full, let alone get dessert. That's really nice, but Silvio, we'd say something like this. I ate so much, I'm stuffed. I can't eat another bite, let alone dessert. Really good. Right. Okay. Now I have three examples. Three examples without the explanation. We barely had time to eat, let alone go out for a walk. How can we go out for a walk when we don't have time to eat? The weather was so bad that we couldn't leave the house, let alone go on a hike. How can we go on a hike when we can't even leave our house? I've never been to another state, let alone another country. Right. Manuel, I'm a bit bored, let alone and getting a trip to Tenerife. Okay, so let alone is really clearly understood, which is nice, but we always say this cannot happen. So, Manuel, I'm a bit bored. That just describes your emotion. It's not really talking about an action. We can say, I'm too bored to leave my house, if that's possible. I'm too bored to leave my house, let alone go on a trip. So we need to have an action first. Aki, hello teacher, I'm a new student. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Right here, these are just things I put later if you want to pause the video, if you want to look at these, and if you're my member, if you're an English nerd, you can complete these sentences on your own time, with your own ideas. Practice makes perfect. We finished number 1. Let's keep moving. We have a lot to go through today, and at any time, leave me some examples. Mohammed, greetings from Turkey. Hello, thank you. Okay. Number two, so to speak. And when we're speaking quickly, it sounds like we're saying, so to speak. So listen out for that while I'm speaking. Dara, good question. Will you share the PDF by email? Dara, these PDFs are available to my members, my channel members, and I have a special members library where they can download everything. So no, I don't email my members directly. They download it themselves. Okay. So when do we use so to speak? He's the heart of the team, so to speak, because everyone depends on him. What does this mean? What does so to speak mean? I don't literally mean he is the heart of the team. I mean he is the most important part of the team. So clearly, I don't mean he is literally the heart of the team. That would be gross. What I mean is he's the most important part. We use so to speak when our description is not literal. And literal means exact, the reality. And we want to clarify this. Or maybe our description isn't very good. Listen to the tone. He's the heart of the team, so to speak. So to speak, kind of like this. Oh, which app do you use to edit? I'm currently using Canva. You can see here Canva at the top. I use Canva for all of my notes. It makes things very easy to edit. I can download things very easily and share it with my members. But when I edit my videos for my channel, I use Camtasia. I always use a combination. Okay. Manuel, we can't get a lesson without Arnell, so to speak. She is necessary for improving our level. That's right. So not literally you can't have a lesson, but you can't have a lesson without me, so to speak. Tahizim, I haven't read anything for my exam, so to speak. I'm lazy, so to speak. I am so lazy. Yes, if you say I haven't read anything for my exam, so to speak, maybe you have read a little bit. You're just saying, not literally, but I haven't done very much. Heather loves her business and often works weeks without a break. Her business is her baby, so to speak. I don't literally mean her business is her baby. Heather just loves what she does so much. In English, we do this. We describe something as your baby, even though it's not. Like maybe your business is your baby because you love it so much. Or maybe your pet, your dog or your cat can be your baby. My brother is in finance. I don't know what his specific job title is, but he's like a personal money counselor, so to speak. My description isn't very good, but it's kind of like this. Julia, nice! He's the top dog in our organization, so to speak. He wears many hats. Exactly, he's not literally a top dog. Oh, says, thanks for answering my question. I am a remote English teacher. Oh, nice! And always use your lessons, and I recommend them to my students. Thank you so much. I hope they help your students. Wonderful. Okay. Right, before we continue, I'll answer a very common question. I've seen this question a couple times now. Zama says, ma'am, are you from China? I'm American, but to clarify, my dad's American, my mom's Chinese Korean. So I am mixed. Do I speak Chinese? I can understand a tiny bit, but that's it. I've never lived in China and I wasn't born in China. Okay. Christina and I are best friends. So her son is like my nephew, so to speak. Not really my nephew. The company is trying to clean house, so to speak, by firing underperforming employees. To clean house. This means remove unnecessary things. This is usually in an organization, maybe in the government, maybe in the company. You remove unnecessary things, maybe even people. So not literally cleaning the house. We want a clean house, so to speak. Okay, good. Again, nerds or anyone viewing, pause this lesson later and try to complete these sentences for yourself to practice. Let's go. Number three, at all. It's a tiny phrase, but an important one. I don't understand this grammar at all. We always use this phrase with a negative statement. Don't. Negative statement, at all, is 100% no. No, no, no. I don't understand this grammar even 1%. I don't understand this grammar at all. I don't understand it 1%. It's a way to exaggerate. Caleb doesn't like me at all. He even ignores me when I say good morning. He dislikes me 100%. Or I could say he doesn't like me. Not even 1%. Natalia, I don't want to deal with this issue at all. Really good example. Yes. He has no patience at all. I can't eat anything with gluten in it at all. For example, that's not true. That's just an example. So gluten is something in, wheat products, and some people cannot digest this. I can't eat anything with gluten in it at all. Dalton says, I don't understand why people like winter at all. Exactly. And Vera, good to see you. Happy New Year to you as well. Okay. Really good. Let's keep going. The more examples, the better. Alex gambled all of her savings away. Does she have any money left at all? And gamble, this is a good verb. To gamble means you go to a casino and you try to win money. When people gamble, they normally lose money, right? So we can use at all at the end of a question to ask, in any way, is there 1%? Does she have any money left at all? Even 1%? Are you interested in going to the party at all? Did Renee say anything at all about the meeting? Did she say one thing? Is this plan making sense to you at all? Do you understand even one thing about this plan? Good. Nice. Perfect. Practice makes perfect. If you have time later, look at these examples here, complete them yourself, and leave me a comment. Natalia says gambling is a bad habit like smoking or being a drug addict. Gambling can be an addiction. People get addicted to it, don't they? It can be kind of sad. Okay. Dara asks, Arnell, so at all can we put in the middle of a sentence? Normally it's at the end. Here, Dara, yes, you could put it in the middle because sometimes you can change things around. I could say, did Renee say anything about the meeting at all? In this case, either position is fine, but when you don't know what to do, put it at the end. Okay. Abdi Latif, I don't like playing games at all. Good example. I don't like playing games at all. Okay, nice. Number 4, let's keep moving. Let's keep going. By all means. This is a nice polite one. By all means. Let's start with an example. Can I borrow a couple of Post-its? By all means. By all means means, yes, of course, no problem. You can be very polite saying this. And Post-its. What are Post-its? Post-its are these little sticky notes. So we can call these things Post-its or a Post-it note. And I always use Post-its. I have so many Post-its around my office. I love Post-its. We use by all means to politely say, yes, of course. This is used after someone has a request. Would you like anything to drink? Could I just have a cup of water, please? By all means. Wait here and I'll grab one for you. Yes, of course, no problem. I'll get you a cup of water. Honey says like sticky notes. You can say Post-its, which is the brand name, or sticky notes. Both are perfect. Yeah. More examples. Do you mind if I open the window? It's getting a bit stuffy. It's getting a bit stuffy. Stuffy is an adjective that means there is no fresh air, like a stuffy room. Whew, it's getting a bit stuffy. By all means, go ahead. This means yes, of course. Yes, of course. Is it okay if I use your office to make a quick call? By all means, it's all yours. You can use my whole office, it's all yours. Nice. Rajan, really good. If you think you can climb Mount Everest in 1 week, by all means, go ahead. Yes, try it. Try to climb it in 1 week. Nice. Your own examples. Can I? By all means. Do you mind if I? By all means. Nice. So this one's short and sweet. By all means is a really simple one. And practice at home. Say it for yourself. Repeat after me. By all means. Let's do that again. Say it to the camera. Say it in your microphone just to practice. By all means. Start using it. It's a very polite one. For the time being. For the time being. Let's move on to number 5. I heard you moved in with Ellie and Bob. For the time being. They are letting me stay with them until I find a new job. Move in. This is a phrasal verb. It's a great one. When you say move in, everybody knows you're speaking about moving into a new house or apartment. To move your things into your new house or your apartment. So here, I've heard you moved in with Ellie and Bob. Everyone knows you brought your stuff there. Maybe your suitcases, your boxes, that type of thing. For the time being is a long way to say for now. Temporarily, meaning short term. Temporarily. Silvio, can I get some more hot cocoa? By all means. There you go. Absolutely. I think everyone wants more cocoa, without a doubt. 1 cup is never enough. Dalit, for the time being, I'm a student at Harvard. Ooh, love that example. Really nice. For now, temporarily, I'm a student at Harvard. We use for the time being to speak about situations that are temporary, not permanent. The situation will change soon, in the near future. For the time being, we'll postpone the meeting until more people can join. Postpone means move to a later date, next week, next month. The store is closed for the time being due to renovations. You shouldn't worry about your exam for the time being. It's 6 months away. For the time being, you can see at the front of a sentence or at the end of a sentence. Both are absolutely fine. Manuel, no worries. The gym is closed. I see you corrected yourself. The gym is closed for the time being. End up the lingering Christmas parties in Spain. Because of the lingering Christmas parties? Thipan, please answer me. Thipan, I didn't see a question. If you ask me a question, sometimes I don't see them. Sorry, I try to answer as many questions as possible. Telugu, for the time being, I am not working. Really nice example. Temporarily. Sylvia, for the time being, I stopped with working out. We could, it's better to say, Sylvia, for the time being, I'm not working out. Because it's the present. I'm not working out because I caught a cold last week. Remember with the past, if you give a specific time, you need the past simple. So for the time being, I'm not working out because I caught, past simple, I caught a cold last week. Abdilatif, for the time being, I was playing football. Nice example, but for the time being means the present. So we'd say for the time being, I am playing football or I'm not playing football. We need the present. Okay. Good. Felipe asks, can we consult this material later? If yes, where? Good morning, teacher. Hello, Felipe. This live lesson will always be on my channel, so you can rewatch it. You can pause the lesson to take notes. But if you want to download all of the notes, they're available for my members. My members can download all the notes they want from this live or the past live lessons. Okay. And again, you can practice. For the time being, I think we should and then for the time being. Think of your own examples. But I know a lot of you are already doing that already, which is nice. Next one, if anything. If anything is a weird one. Don't think about if, don't think about anything. Think of it as one word. Are you mad? Mad meaning angry. I'm not mad. If anything, I'm just disappointed. What you think is not correct. The opposite or something else is correct. So I am not mad, you are not correct. The opposite or something else is correct. And this isn't rude. It's not like I'm saying you are wrong. It just means what you think isn't correct. We use if anything to mean what people believe is not correct. The opposite or something else is actually correct. Let's move to this example. I don't think Darius, let's imagine Darius is the boss, will be angry if we spoke to the client ourselves about the problem. If anything, I think he'll be happy that we took initiative to provide a good service. What you think is not correct. Angry, I don't think so. I think the opposite is correct. He will be happy. To take initiative. This is a really common phrase in a job interview, in business English. This means you find a solution without being asked to do it. You're independent, you find a solution, no one needs to tell you to do it. People want people who take initiative. Good. Faiziev, yes, wonderful example. For the time being, we should learn everything about English from Marnell. Love that example. Good. Ooh, Victor, this is a nice one. This conversation didn't hurt our relationship. If anything, we started being honest with each other. Absolutely. The first part's not true. Actually, this part is true. Good. I hope my explanation didn't confuse you. Not at all. Remember at all from earlier? If anything, it made things much clearer. I'm not feeling sick. If anything, I feel more energetic than before. That might surprise you. Have you lost weight? You're sweet. But if anything, I've gained weight. So the opposite is true. Carol, that's a nice question. If anything, is it like on the contrary? Yes, that's a good way to describe it. On the contrary, subject verb. Absolutely, that's another good option. Yes. Telugu says, can we use if so instead of if anything? No, if anything means the opposite or on the contrary. If so means if this is the case. For example, are you mad? If so, let's go for a walk. If this is the case, let's go for a walk. So they're different. They're different. Your own examples, pause this later, pause this now, and what can you think of here? Fill in the blanks, especially if you're one of my English nerds. 7. Nice, we are already halfway through. We have 12 total, so we're getting through this list. I know there's a lot of information. Let's keep going. To say the least. To say the least. My mother-in-law and I wore the same costume to the party. It was weird, to say the least. Your mother-in-law is your husband's or wife's mother. That's your mother-in-law. You can have a mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law. It's your relationship through marriage. So that's kind of weird. This is awkward. Awkward. Awkward means weird and uncomfortable. So what does it mean when I say, to say the least? This means I could say something worse, like, it was terrible. I wanted to die. I'd never been so embarrassed in my life. But weird is the least bad thing I could say. We use to say the least when we mean we are not describing something as extreme as it should be described. We are saying, actually, it's worse. Or better, depending on the situation, than I am describing. So a lot of times you're trying to be polite, or you don't want to say what you're really thinking. That's the slightest way to describe a situation. Absolutely, we're being kind of delicate. We don't really want to go full out and say what we really think, positive or negative. The mandatory meeting. Mandatory means obligatory. You must attend. The mandatory meeting we were all asked to attend was a waste of time, to say the least. This is a very strong opinion. I could say something worse, but I'm not going to. So this person here really didn't like the meeting. I'm going to give you a positive example because it's not always for something negative. Michelle's presentation was impressive, to say the least. Her presentation was better than impressive. In this case, it's a compliment. So whatever side you want to be on, positive, negative, to say the least means you're not giving the most extreme version or description. Telugu, good question. To say the least means briefly. It could be brief, meaning short. However, not necessarily. To say the least means I'm not going to say my real thoughts. I want to be polite. Briefly just means short. So it's possible, but that's not the exact description. Ooh, Veronica, yes, I like this. To put it mildly. And I know the Z was a typo. To put it mildly means, ooh, I'm not going to be so strong. Good. The negotiations were difficult, to say the least, as both sides were unwilling to compromise on several key issues. Difficult is the nicest thing I could say. In reality, it was much worse. Theo's behavior during the meeting was unprofessional, to say the least, especially when he interrupted others repeatedly. Julia, what a sweet example. Arnav's live is the greatest of all time, to say the least. Love that example. Thank you. Dalton, Arnell's classes have the best English examples that I already see, to say the least. Absolutely love it. Love that example. Good. Rajan, this is a nice example, something positive. The houses along the lake are gorgeous, to say the least. Absolutely, really good. Ricardo, the movie was disappointing, to say the least. Then we know you really didn't like the movie. Nice. And again, your own examples whenever you have time. Take a look at these here. Are you ready to keep going? For what it's worth. And here it is. For what it's worth. For what it's worth. I know you're disappointed with how your open day went. You spent such a long time planning it. For what it's worth, I think you did a great job. An open day. An open day is a day a business or a school allows the public to come in and look around. You can look around. It's an open day. Everyone is welcome. So what do we mean when we say for what it's worth? It's kind of a long phrase. We mean, I'm not sure what I'm going to say will help you, but I want to say it anyway. For what it's worth, you're being kind of careful. You know, maybe you're giving an opinion, you're trying to help someone, and you're saying, maybe this will help you. Albertino, okay, this is a nice question. Going back to the previous one. We have to use to say the least at the end of a sentence or whatever. Usually it's at the end of a clause. So subject, verb, ... to say the least. We could continue the sentence, but normally it's always at the end. It's like an afterthought. You say something and then to say the least. So usually it's at the end. We wouldn't just put it anywhere. Okay. We use for what it's worth to give someone a piece of information or your opinion. We are saying, I don't know if this will help you. Here, at the start of a sentence. Actually, it's always at the start of a sentence, usually. No, it can be either. Sorry, I was thinking about that for a second. For what it's worth can be at the start or at the end. For what it's worth, I agree with your opinion, even though I didn't say anything in the meeting. I don't know if this will help you, but I want to tell you anyway. I heard you quit your job. For what it's worth, I think you made an excellent decision. Let me give you some advice. For what it's worth. I don't know if this will help you. And so far I've given examples where you're trying to help someone feel better. Okay. Sorry, I had to check something very quickly. You're trying to help someone feel better. You're trying to give them a compliment. But then again, here, maybe it's just information that you don't know is interesting or not. Look, this is the tie. This is the tie I wore to my very first interview. For what it's worth. Maybe you don't think this is interesting, but I think it's interesting. I'm gonna tell you. For what it's worth. Nice. Okay, nice examples. I'm seeing some good examples here. Victor says, for what it's worth, I can share my story of success. Nice. Normally we just say a success story. That's the natural way to say it. I can share my success story with you. Yeah. Manuel, I am to move on sooner to the mountain. Okay, we can say I'm soon going to move to the mountain. Manuel, for what it's worth if you live next to the beaches. Manuel, here we need not an if situation, some sort of statement, some piece of advice. Miranda, we all make mistakes. For what it's worth, you can learn from it. Yeah, don't worry about it. You can learn from it. Good. Okay. Again, gap fills. That's your homework. Dalton, Janet, your presentation is pretty good. For what it's worth, I think you should speak a little louder in the next one. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the nuance here. Dalton, I think I'm being picky here. I'm being picky with this one. For what it's worth, usually we're trying to make someone feel better. For what it's worth, I think you did a great job. So yeah, I think you should speak a little louder, but normally this phrase is used to make someone feel better, not necessarily give them practical advice. Yeah, but nice sentence. Thank you for putting it up. Ricardo, what does picky mean? Oh, picky means you're being too specific. Like, you can't say this, say this. Sometimes it's not good to be picky, but sometimes you need to be picky. I'll give an example of picky. You see here, this text is, let's say, red. I can say, oh, the text is red. Someone picky might say, it's not red, it's red-orange. They're being too specific, and sometimes it's just not necessary. That's being picky. Okay. Number nine. After all. And I will say this now, after all has more definitions. Today I'm focusing on one definition. Of course I love English. After all, I'm an English teacher. I say this to support my first point. So after all can give your second point, your first point, a little bit more support. We use after all when we want to support the first point you made. You are saying A is true because B. Like, I love English. How can I prove this? How can I support the statement? Well, look, I'm an English teacher. May's probably going to accept the offer. She's been looking for a job for months, after all. So I say this, that she's been looking for a new job, to support my first point. How do I know? Why do I know May's going to accept the offer? Well, because she's been looking for a job for months. Victor, I thought you might know somebody. After all, you're the man with connections. Exactly, that's a really nice example. So how do I know you might know someone? Well, because you're the man with the connections. Good. Sarah, this is kind of a funny example. They should have been more careful with fire. I mean, why? Come on, after all, they are firefighters. Absolutely. Good. Right, we did this one. Here we go. You really need to accept Tim's apology. Why? How can I support this? After all, you've known him your whole life. You're like brothers. It was no surprise that our rival won the game. After all, they train 2 days more per week than we do. And your rival is your competitor, like a rival team, something like that. We shouldn't worry about the cost of buying a new car. After all, it's a one-time expense. This explains this. This explains this. This explains this. Silvio! My sister plays the piano very well. After all, she studied music since her childhood. Exactly! The second statement supports the first one. Nice. Felipe, is after all like the reason why? Yes, think about it like the reason why. Yeah, it's the reason why. Nice. Matt Who says, I am good at the English language. After all, I'm your student, ma'am. Exactly. The second statement supports the first statement. Love it. Good. Manuel, you shouldn't be worried. You shouldn't worry that you lost the match. After all, it's only a game. Exactly. Really nice. Okay. Good. Oh, I'm getting distracted by all your comments. I need to keep moving. Okay, let's go. We still have a few more to do. Examples. Practice makes perfect. Number 10. In the long run. In the long run. It can be hard to find the motivation to exercise every day. Yep, but in the long run, it's good for your health. This means for the time being, remember that one from earlier? There are no benefits. You'll only see the benefits over a long period of time. You kind of need to invest your energy and time. We use in the long run to make it clear that you won't see results now. You'll see results in the future. Like this little thing I put together here. Here's the start. You cannot see the results. 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 Finally, you can see the results. This can be positive or negative. It might seem like saving a couple of dollars here and there doesn't do anything. But in the long run, over a period of time, your savings will really add up. You need to be patient. Add up. This is a good phrasal verb. This means little things eventually accumulate together. $1 there, $2 there. Little by little, you will have a lot. In the long run, your savings will really add up. Gilbert, in the long run, I learned this expression some days ago in Atomic Habits by James Clear. I have that book. Who wrote that book? Yeah, that's a good book, Atomic Habits. And it makes sense that it'll say in the long run because that's all about good habits, building a good future. Yeah. Who wrote Atomic Habits? Not going to the dentist might save you money for now, for the time being, but in the long run, you could pay double for dental treatment, or triple. Take care of your teeth now. Oh, James Clear wrote sorry. Now I'm stuttering. Atomic Habits. I have to check this out later. Okay. Should I focus on getting a part-time job or should I study full-time? Gilbert, thank you for clarifying. I think studying full-time will benefit you more in the long run. Why are we planting so many trees in the neighborhood? It'll help increase property prices in the long run. So you need time to see results. Ricardo, if I practice my English, I will be an expert in the long run. Yes, I'll speak better in the long run. Yeah. Miranda, in the long run, she hopes her dream will come into fruition. Absolutely, will come to fruition. Yes. Madhu, in the long run, I'll become the PM. Yes. Good. Alvaro, if I practice English, I will be able to communicate in the long run. Really nice. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a fact. Be persistent in the relationship. In the long run, you could get married to her. Yeah. Good. Nice. In the long run, now you don't see the benefits. Be patient. In the future, you'll see the benefits or results. Okay. Number 11. For that matter. For that matter. My cat doesn't like me. She doesn't like anyone for that matter. And here we have the cat saying, I don't like anyone. For that matter is kind of a weird one. Again, for that matter means she also doesn't like anyone else. We use for that matter when we mean also. We are speaking about things related to the topic. I feel so tired today. I've been tired all week, for that matter. We're saying, I've also been tired all week. Now let's look at this purple box. Also, or for that matter, what's the difference? Well, both give additional information, but for that matter makes it clear that the second statement is just important as the first. And yes, many times they're interchangeable in meaning, they're just used differently in a sentence. Do you think your son would like to try volleyball? And here I have volleyball. I don't think he'd like volleyball or any other team sport, for that matter. He also wouldn't like other team sports. And for that matter, you can kind of feel it's very conversational because you have your opinion and then you just add, for that matter, you're kind of thinking as you're speaking. I don't like spicy food. Me neither. Or overly salty foods, for that matter. I also don't like salty food. Overly salty food. Too much salt. This coffee is terrible. Yeah, the coffee from the cafeteria is pretty bad. And all the other hot drinks too, for that matter. Just tack it on to the end there. It's like everything else or also is the same. Good. Faiziev says, Arnel, do you think doing a lot of homework, doing much homework plays a crucial role in the long run? Yes, I do. I know some people think homework is old-fashioned, homework is boring, but in my experience, there's a big difference between the students who regularly study at home and they do their homework to the students who don't. Yes, all practice you can do makes sense. And when I say you need to do your homework, I don't mean only do homework. You need a little bit of everything, but yes, I do think homework is crucial. If you have time, try to study as much as you can on your own. Absolutely. Good. Manuel, I told you to be cautious with your scooter on the pathway. For that matter, you hit an elderly woman. Right, we need to tweak this a little bit. We could say, I told you to be cautious with your scooter on this pathway and other roads for that matter. And also other roads. They need to be a little bit more connected, the 2 points. Sarah, I don't like reading novels or any literature books for that matter. Yeah, they're related. Very nice. Petrichor, Arna, why do we need to use for that matter after saying to? That's a really good question. these are conversational. We have to, and for that matter, it's just kind of like a thought. It's not really logical. So I agree. Here we have, and other hot drinks too, but you're adding just an extra thought. And other drinks too, for that matter. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but you can say for that matter at the end. Good. Nice. Okay. For that matter, a bit more practice, absolutely. This is good. One thing to clarify, sorry, before we continue, let me see what examples I've put up here. Yeah, okay. Honey, I'm glad you wrote this example. I'm hungry now for that matter. I'm hungry for the whole day. For that matter goes after the second point. So I could say, I'm hungry now. I've been hungry the whole day, for that matter. So it's more after the second point that you've made. RCP says, hi, Arna, I found this one confusing. I agree. For that matter is not really clear because it's not necessary. It means also. Why do we need for that matter when we can just say also or to? It's just something we often say in spoken English. You're adding an extra thought. So try to translate it as also. She doesn't like anyone else, for that matter. It means she also doesn't like anyone else. It's the same meaning, but just a different type of structure. This is, at the start of this lesson, I mentioned a lot of these phrases are kind of tough for students to grasp. They don't always make sense. They don't always translate very easily. Okay. Number 12, and I think this is our last one. Yeah. Yes, it's our last one. Okay. Last but not least, in the first place, I wouldn't have made that mistake if I had been more careful in the first place. This means if I had been more careful in the beginning, at the start, originally. Look at this little line here. The start, I wasn't careful here. Now I regret this. You can see I'm looking back to the past. And I just saw another example. Sorry, I'm going back to the previous phrase. Patricia, yes, my sister doesn't like mice. She doesn't like rodents. She doesn't like rodents for that matter. Yeah, absolutely. All rodents, anything small and fuzzy, furry, she doesn't like. Good. Dalton, yeah, going back to the other nerd who was a little bit who was struggling with the previous phrase, absolutely. In this lesson, maybe you hear a phrase for the first time, and then somewhere else you hear it. So even if you don't know how to use it, it all adds up together. You'll hear it there. Someone might say it somewhere else. Little by little, it'll all come together. So if today you're confused by a phrase, remember it's an introduction. You have to start somewhere. Yeah. Okay. We use in the first place when we look back to the past as something we did, something that did or didn't happen earlier. Let's keep going. My best friend and I got in trouble because we were in the teacher's lounge. And the teacher's lounge is a room for teachers to take a break. They can relax, they can lounge. And B says, what were you doing in the teacher's lounge in the first place? Tell me, I want to know why you were there to begin with. Originally, what was the reason you were there? You're students. I'm not upset that I lost my job because I didn't really enjoy it in the first place. To begin with, at the start, I didn't enjoy it. It's not that big of a deal. I really don't want to help set up this party tonight. why did you agree to do it in the first place? Why did you do it originally? And to set up is another phrasal verb. To set up means prepare things for an event. Setting up a party means maybe you help bring out the tables, maybe you put out the food, you help with like the music. This is setting everything up. Pierre, I had to deliver a message to a teacher. This is why I was in the teacher's lounge. Thank you for the explanation. Good. Okay. So in the first place, I'm seeing some nice examples. Okay, I'm wondering if I need to clarify anything with this phrase here. So in the first place is usually at the end of a phrase or a clause. If I'd been more careful in the first place, so at the beginning. Muhammad, this is a nice example. Yeah. If you had told him the truth in the first place, this lie wouldn't have ruined your relationship with him. Absolutely. At the start, in the first place, it would have been good to be honest. It would have been good to be honest. Okay. I won't share my secrets with you. It's none of your business in the first place. Yeah, to begin with, it's none of your business. Leo, none of this would have happened if you had done it right in the first place. Absolutely. So in the first place is good for, criticizing. You're criticizing someone or questioning them. Why were you there in the first place? Why did you do that in the first place? Give me the original reason, please. Okay. Dalton, good. This is a regret. I have a lot of problems traveling by car. I should have taken a flight. A flight in the first place. Absolutely. You're looking back. I should have taken a flight. Patricia, I shouldn't have gone to that party in the first place. I can't dance, after all. Okay. After all, I can't dance. Yep, nice. Really good. Well, guys, let's take a look at everything we've looked at. If you've been here this whole time, that's amazing. We've gone through 12 advanced phrases. That is a lot. That really is a lot to go through. And I've loved that you've written some of your own example sentences. If you're watching the replay, definitely write your own examples in the comments, even if you're not watching this live. Always practice. Okay. M says, Arnell, please plan other types of memberships also. I have a few ideas that I'll be trying to do throughout the year. But yes, I should have different levels for my members. Good. Pierre says, what is the frequency of your lives? How often do you go live? I would love to be there and adjust my schedule according to the lives. I would love you to be here, Pierre. That would be wonderful. So I go live every other Wednesday, meaning one Wednesday, yes, one no. Yes, no, yes, no. My next live will be on the 22nd. And Honey already put it here. The 22nd will be my next live lesson. Good. Right, final thing I need to mention. I will become tiny again. If you want these notes, join my channel and become an English nerd. Give me maybe half an hour so I can put this in my nerd library, and then you can download all of these notes. So if you're a nerd, you get the password. And then you can go to my website and then type the password in there, and I'll put everything in a members post so you don't get confused. Okay. see. Mm, full screen. Aha! There we go. Thank you so much for joining me. This is my first live. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've loved seeing your comments. I've loved answering your questions. Anything else you need help with, let me know after this live. Have a great week, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.